Have you ever wondered how to truly enjoy your golden years without the stress and complications that often come with aging? In this video, we'll explore 6 essential don'ts that can help you maintain a peaceful and fulfilling life at 70 and beyond. From setting healthy boundaries with your family to embracing simplicity, you'll discover practical wisdom to make your later years happier and more stable. Stay with us until the end to learn how to avoid common pitfalls that many elderly face and to uncover the secrets to a serene and blessed old age. Whether you're approaching this milestone or supporting a loved one, this guide is your key to a worry-free and joyful future. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me. And if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. First, don't work hard to help your children. It is often said that the greatest love a parent can show is to give of themselves completely for their children. We live in a world where self-sacrifice is frequently held up as a virtue, especially in the context of parenthood. However, as we grow older, it's important to remember that loving our children does not mean pushing our bodies beyond their limits or exhausting ourselves in the process. The story of An Wong, a loving grandmother, is a powerful example of the emotional and physical cost of placing our children's needs before our health. In her early 60s, An Wong found herself in a position that many parents and grandparents can relate to. Her daughter, juggling the demands of work and motherhood, needed help raising her young child. An Wong, without hesitation, stepped in, believing that it was her duty and responsibility to lighten her daughter's load. She made a heartfelt promise to herself and her family that she would help take care of her grandchild until they were old enough to attend school. In her mind, it seemed like a small and noble sacrifice, one born out of the deep, unconditional love she felt for her child. What she didn't realize at the time was that life has a way of speeding up when you're busy caring for others. The days turned into weeks, the weeks into years, and before she knew it, 8 long years had passed. 8 years of sleepless nights, of chasing after an energetic young child, of lifting and bending and cooking, often without a moment to pause and reflect on her well-being. By the time her grandchild reached elementary school, An Wong was nearing 70, and her once strong body had begun to show signs of wear and tear. Her energy, once boundless, was now diminished, and she began to feel the heavy weight of age. Just as she was about to take a much-needed rest, her daughter announced that she was expecting a second child. It was a moment of joy for the family, but for An Wong, it also meant the continuation of her duties. Despite her aching joints, her growing fatigue, and the increasing realization that she wasn't as young as she used to be, she agreed out of love, out of duty to help her daughter once again. Her heart was full of love for her family, and she couldn't bear the thought of leaving her daughter to struggle on her own. The early years of caring for the second grandchild were even more challenging than the first. The sleepless nights felt longer, the days more exhausting. But An Wong pressed on, telling herself that she was doing the right thing. She ignored the signs her body was sending, the aching back, the constant fatigue, the moments of dizziness. She told herself that a mother's love knows no limits, and that her sacrifices were part of her role as a parent. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. However, one fateful day, when her grandchild was only 3 years old, An Wong's body finally reached its breaking point. While chasing after the toddler in the community playground, she tripped and fell, landing hard on the pavement. The pain shot through her leg, and in that moment she knew something was wrong. She had fractured her leg, an injury that would not only take months to heal but also require assistance for her care. Suddenly, An Wong found herself in the unfamiliar position of being a burden rather than a helper. Her daughter, who had relied on her mother for support, now had to hire a nanny not only to care for the children but also to care for An Wong during her recovery. The tables had turned, and An Wong felt a deep sense of regret. She had wanted so badly to help, but in the end, her insistence on pushing herself had only created more stress and difficulty for her family. In the quiet moments of her recovery, An Wong had time to reflect on the choices she had made. She came to a painful realization: by not prioritizing her health, she had not only harmed herself but had also unintentionally placed a greater burden on her daughter. What she once thought of as selfless love had become, in a way, a form of self-neglect. It was a hard lesson to learn, but one that many parents and grandparents could benefit from. As we age, it becomes increasingly important to recognize our limitations. Our bodies, no matter how strong or capable they once were, grow weaker with time. It is not a failure to admit that we can no longer do the things we used to do. Acknowledging our limitations is a sign of wisdom and maturity. An Wong's story reminds us that we cannot pour from an empty cup. If we neglect our health and well-being in the name of helping others, we will eventually reach a point where we can no longer help anyone, not even ourselves. It's crucial to understand that taking care of oneself is not selfish. On the contrary, it's one of the most loving things we can do for our families. When we prioritize our health, we are ensuring that we can continue to be there for our loved ones in meaningful ways. We are teaching our children and grandchildren the importance of self-care, of listening to one's body, and of respecting one's limits. This, too, is a form of love, one that is just as valuable, if not more so, than the sacrifices we make. In An Wang's case, she realized too late that her body was fragile, and she deeply regretted not taking better care of herself earlier on. But her story doesn't have to be one of regret for others. It can be a wake-up call, a gentle yet emotional reminder to all parents and grandparents that you don't have to do everything. Your children and grandchildren will find their way in life. They will have their struggles and their triumphs. And while your love and support will always be important, it's just as important to give yourself the grace and permission to step back when needed. For those in their 60s, 70s, or older, this story speaks to the reality of aging, a reality that is often difficult to accept, but one that we must face with courage and self-awareness. Our bodies are not as resilient as they once were, and that's okay. There's no shame in recognizing that we need rest, that we need help, and that we deserve to enjoy our later years in peace and good health. Taking care of our health is one of the greatest gifts we can give our children. By doing so, we are ensuring that they won't have to worry about us, and we are freeing them to focus on their own lives and their own families. So, to every parent or grandparent reading this, I urge you to take a moment and reflect on your well-being. Are you pushing yourself too hard? Are you neglecting your health in the name of helping others? If so, it's time to make a change. Your children need you, yes, but they need you healthy, happy, and whole. And don't wait until it's too late to realize that taking care of yourself is one of the most loving things you can do for them. Let An Wang's story be a reminder that love isn't always about sacrifice. Sometimes it's about knowing when to let go and trusting that your children will find their way. Second, don't demand longevity. It's a hard truth to face, but sometimes living too long can lead to more suffering and disappointment than peace and fulfillment. Many people, especially after the age of 70, become obsessed with the idea of prolonging their lives, often at any cost. They pour their energy, money, and hope into endless health-preserving techniques, consuming countless supplements, investing in expensive therapies, and buying costly massage or wellness equipment, all in the hopes of adding more years to their lives. But in doing so, they may be chasing an illusion, one that can ultimately lead to heartbreak rather than the desired result. Too often, the pursuit of longevity doesn't just fail, it leads people down dangerous paths. Some fall victim to scams, tricked into spending thousands on products or treatments that promise to extend life or restore youth. These fraudulent schemes prey on the natural fear of aging and the desperation to cling to life. At best, people lose their hard-earned savings, falling victim to those who exploit their vulnerability. At worst, the so-called health products they rely on can damage their well-being, doing more harm than good. The irony is painful. In trying to preserve their health, they end up compromising it, sometimes irreparably. Even more tragic, however, is the emotional toll that this obsession with longevity can take. In many families, the constant pursuit of staying younger, healthier, and stronger leads to tension. The elderly who focus on nothing but their health sometimes alienate their loved ones, provoking unnecessary conflicts. Children, who see their aging parents sink further into a cycle of spending and fear, often grow frustrated and disconnected. They may resent the emotional burden placed on them as they watch their parents invest in one more supplement, one more machine, one more therapy session, all while ignoring the more important aspects of life such as relationships, joy, and peace. The pursuit of longevity, ironically, can create a deep divide between parents and children, making the later years of life lonely and bitter. For those in their 70s and beyond, the concept of living each day as an earned blessing, rather than as an entitlement, is a much healthier and fulfilling mindset. When we stop demanding more time, when we stop clinging to the idea that living longer is the ultimate goal, we open ourselves to a deeper appreciation of the present moment. Each sunrise, each shared conversation, and each quiet cup of tea becomes a gift, something to be cherished rather than taken for granted. There's a kind of dignity in accepting that life, no matter how long or short, is precious not because of the number of years lived, but because of the experiences and relationships we cultivate along the way. Longevity without dignity, without joy, without purpose, is not truly living. It's merely existing. To live long without the ability to enjoy life, to be disconnected from the people who matter, to be constantly chasing youth that will never return, this is not a blessing. It can be a curse. A long life spent in frustration, isolation, or poor health is not something to strive for. Instead, what we should seek is a meaningful life, regardless of how long or short it may be. There's also an important lesson here for those who are younger, for the children and grandchildren who watch their elders struggle with the fear of aging. It's vital to support your parents and grandparents, to encourage them to embrace life with grace and dignity, rather than fear and desperation. Help them understand that their value isn't tied to how many years they live, but to the love they give, the wisdom they share, and the peace they find in their final chapters. For the elderly, let go of the idea that the longer you live, the better your life will be. Stop placing your hope in supplements or gadgets that promise more years, and instead focus on the things that truly matter. Spend your days with loved ones, nurture your relationships, and enjoy the small moments of beauty that life offers. In the end, living with dignity and peace is far more valuable than simply living long. A long life without these elements can feel empty, even burdensome. So, Let this be a gentle reminder to us all. Don't demand longevity. You don't sacrifice your dignity, your peace, or your relationships in the blind pursuit of more years. Focus on the quality of life rather than the quantity. Even if we are granted extra days, they are worth far more when spent with love, purpose, and grace than when spent chasing an unrealistic dream of eternal youth. Life is not about how many years we live, but how much life we put into those years. In the end, it's not the number of candles on our birthday cake that matters, but the memories we've made, the people we've touched, and the peace we carry within us. Let go of the fear of aging and embrace each day for the beautiful gift that it is. Third, don't seek to make money. There is a common belief that wealth and financial security are the keys to happiness, but as we grow older, this mindset can become a burden rather than a blessing. Especially for those over the age of 70, the pursuit of wealth can not only become an unnecessary stress, but also a serious threat to health and well-being. It's important to recognize that if fate intends for you to have wealth, it will find its way to you. But if it's not in your destiny, forcing it can only lead to frustration and potential harm. Studies have shown that people in their 70s and beyond should not continue working as they did in their younger years. Every extra year of strenuous work can shorten your life by 2 years. It's a sobering statistic, and it makes you realize that the cost of chasing more money is often too high. While we live in a time where people are living healthier and longer lives, and it's not uncommon to see those in their 60s finding part-time work after retirement. Once you hit 70, the situation changes drastically. Your body begins to struggle with the same demands it could meet before. The kind of work that might seem simple in your younger years, such as security work, cleaning, or physical labor like farming, can become overwhelming and damaging to your health. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Imagine a 70-year-old pulling an all-nighter as a security guard or spending hours cleaning multiple floors of a building. Their joints ache, their energy levels dip, and their heart and body aren't equipped to handle the stress. Or think of an elderly farmer, still tending to his crops with a hoe, the sun beating down, his back straining with every movement. These scenarios aren't just difficult, they're dangerous. Our bodies in our later years need rest, care, and nurturing, not the exhausting demands of hard labor. It's important to remember that money is not everything. Having enough to cover your basic needs is enough. As we age, the rush to accumulate wealth should no longer be a priority. In rural areas, an elderly person may only need a few hundred yuan each month to live comfortably. In cities, this number may be a little higher, just over 1,000 yuan. Medical expenses, often one of the biggest financial concerns for the elderly, can be reimbursed through insurance. So why, then, would anyone risk their health and well-being to make more money than they truly need? At an advanced age, we must shift our focus away from material wealth and towards something far more valuable: our health, our peace of mind, and our relationships. The idea that you must continue working into your 70s and 80s to maintain a certain standard of living is not only misguided but dangerous. Life at that stage should be about enjoying the time you have left, spending moments with loved ones, and savoring the simple pleasures that money cannot buy. Moreover, the emotional and physical toll of constantly seeking to make more money can strain relationships. Your children, grandchildren, and friends want to see you healthy and happy, not worn down by work that you no longer have the energy for. They want to spend time with you, not worry about you pushing yourself too hard in pursuit of a paycheck. In the end, no amount of money can replace the time spent with those who care about you. And once health is lost, no amount of wealth can buy it back. For many elderly individuals, the fear of running out of money is very real. But the truth is, if you've managed to live into your 70s, you've likely already learned how to manage your finances. You know what you need to get by, and that amount is often far less than you might think. Your lifestyle changes as you age. You no longer need the same things you once did. The joy of buying material possessions fades, and what you come to value most is time, love, and peace. So, let go of the fear of not having enough. Trust that you will have what you need, and that life will provide for you in ways that money cannot. Focus instead on preserving your health, enjoying the company of loved ones, and taking pleasure in the little things. After all, there is a profound freedom in realizing that enough is truly enough. The elderly, particularly those over 70, should cherish the days they have without the burden of financial anxiety. Rather than striving to make more, focus on making the most of the time you have left. Use your remaining days to cultivate joy, rest, reflect, and appreciate the life you've lived. There is no need to take on more stress, more responsibility, or more risk just to chase after money that, in the end, cannot give you what truly matters: peace, health, and love. In the grand scheme of things, money is fleeting. The legacy you leave behind, the love you share, and the memories you create with those closest to you, these are the treasures that truly endure. So, stop seeking to make more money and start seeking to make more meaningful connections and moments. Live with the understanding that you are enough, that you have enough, and that life itself is a gift, one that should be cherished, not wasted on the endless pursuit of wealth. Fourth, don't be driven by lust. As we grow older, The relationships we have with our spouses and loved ones should become deeper, more meaningful, and filled with mutual respect and companionship. Our partners become our lifelong companions, sharing in the highs and lows, the joys and struggles of decades spent together. Yet there are still stories that emerge, some heartbreaking, others shocking, of elderly people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond being drawn into situations driven by lust and desire. Whether it's elderly individuals engaging in prostitution or seniors divorcing their longtime spouses in pursuit of a new relationship, these scenarios often end in disappointment, heartbreak, or even disaster. It's important to acknowledge that it is natural for older adults to have sexual desires. However, as we age, the emotional bonds we form with others and the importance of maintaining our health and family harmony should take priority over fleeting physical desires. Many older adults, in their quest for rekindling youthful romance, sometimes lose sight of what truly matters: the love and stability they built over a lifetime, the companionship they share with their partners, and the support they receive from their families. When lust becomes the driving force behind one's decisions, it can lead to situations that are not only messy but also deeply regrettable. For instance, it's not uncommon to hear stories of elderly individuals in their 70s insisting on divorcing their spouse's partners they've shared a lifetime with just to marry someone they've met later in life. Unfortunately, these relationships are often based on superficial desires or, worse, financial manipulation. All too often, the elderly person ends up cheated or abandoned, left with nothing but regret. What was once a stable and peaceful life becomes a whirlwind of confusion and loss. At the age of 70, with most of life's experiences already behind you, it's essential to learn how to view such desires with maturity and wisdom. While it's completely normal to experience sexual desires, it's just as important to know how to control them and put them in perspective. Life at this stage is no longer about the passions and impulses that often drive younger people. Instead, it should be about cultivating emotional support, cherishing the companionship of those who have stood by you for decades, and finding peace in the relationships you've built. True love, the kind that lasts a lifetime, is incredibly rare. It's not something that can be found easily, even among the young. So, when elderly people pursue new relationships driven by lust or a need for validation, they're often chasing something illusory. The truth is, at an advanced age, relationships formed outside of long-term companionship are rarely about love. More often than not, they're driven by factors like financial security, convenience, or a desire to avoid loneliness. But these motivations are far from the deep, authentic love that one might hope for. And when lust leads the way, the result is often disappointment, broken families, and shattered dreams. Instead of chasing after fleeting desires, those in their later years should focus on what truly brings joy and peace: a simple, contented life. There's a real beauty in the calm and stability of old age, where the pressures of youth are behind you, and you can enjoy the quiet moments with your partner and family. The real treasure of old age isn't found in chasing new romantic experiences or fulfilling lustful desires. It's found in the peace of mind that comes from living a life full of meaning, with people who genuinely care for you by your side. Companionship in old age should be about mutual understanding, respect, and emotional support. As we age, it's this emotional connection that sustains us. Our bodies may weaken, but the bonds we've formed with our partners and loved ones grow stronger. There's no need to let lust overshadow these precious relationships. The love between lifelong partners isn't just about physical attraction, it's about shared experiences, the comfort of knowing someone so deeply, and the reassurance that you're not alone. Moreover, prioritizing health and family harmony is crucial in old age. The impulsive decisions driven by lust often lead to fractured families, strained relationships with children and grandchildren, and a loss of the respect you've earned over a lifetime. At this stage in life, the focus should be on preserving what truly matters: your health, your family's happiness, and the peaceful life you've worked so hard to create. At the end of the day, there is a profound joy in letting go of the superficial and embracing the deeper connections that life offers. True happiness, especially in old age, is about finding peace within yourself and with those around you, not in chasing desires that will ultimately leave you empty. Let your later years be a time of reflection, gratitude, and the quiet satisfaction of a life well lived, free from the distractions of lust and driven instead by the simple pleasures of companionship, health, and family. Fifth, don't engage in excessive socializing. As we age, it's important to recognize that not all aspects of life will remain as they once were. And one of the most significant changes we face is in our social circles. The reality of life is that all gatherings will eventually come to an end. We often move through life from having many people around us to gradually being surrounded by fewer and fewer. In the earlier years, socializing and building connections are vital, but as time passes, the inevitable thinning of our social circles becomes apparent. By the time we retire, we start seeing familiar faces disappear. Some friends drift away, others relocate, and sadly, some pass on. This is part of the natural rhythm of life. By the age of 60, another wave of departures occurs, and by the time you reach your 70s, you may find yourself with very few remaining friends or acquaintances. Aside from close family spouses, children, and grandchildren, there are often very few people left to keep company. It may seem harsh, but it is the natural course of life, and it is something we must come to terms with as we come to. Rather than resist this change or try to maintain the same level of social interaction as before, It's crucial to embrace the shift and follow the natural flow of life. Overextending yourself socially, trying to hold on to every connection or filling your calendar with social obligations is not only exhausting, but it may also detract from what matters, your family and your well-being. By the time you are in your 70s, the constant need to socialize, to be out and about with various acquaintances, becomes less important. The people who have left your life were meant to leave, and those who remain, particularly your family, are the ones who truly matter. It's not to say that friends aren't important, but there comes a time when it's clear that family is where the heart finds peace and solace. The bonds with your spouse, children, and grandchildren take on even more significance. The depth of these relationships far outweighs the casual connections that may have once been a priority in earlier years. Living in an advanced age brings with it a kind of wisdom that is rooted in simplicity. At 70, it's time to return to the quiet joy of family life. Surrounding yourself with the people who care for you most is not only emotionally fulfilling, but also allows you to find contentment in the things that truly bring happiness. The constant whirl of social events, gatherings, and obligations that once filled your life begins to fade into the background, and it becomes clear that the greatest source of joy is found in the love and companionship of those closest to you. Spending time with your spouse, sharing meals with your children, and playing with your grandchildren become the highlights of your day. These moments, small but meaningful, are the treasures of old age. While large gatherings and parties may have once been a source of excitement, now it's the quiet moments at home, the shared laughter with family, and the peace of simply being together that bring true joy. Excessive socializing, especially in old age, can be tiring and unnecessary. You no longer need to prove yourself or maintain a vast network of acquaintances. What matters is nurturing the relationships that have been with you through the ups and downs of life. Your family knows you, understands you, and will stand by you. They are the ones who will walk with you through the final stages of life, offering love, support, and companionship. It's natural to feel a sense of loss as friends drift away or pass on, but there is also a certain beauty in letting go of those relationships that no longer serve you. As your social circle shrinks, it's an opportunity to focus on what remains, to deepen the connections that have withstood the test of time, and to enjoy the tranquility of family life. There is no need to chase after fleeting connections or to fill your time with unnecessary social activities. Instead, turn inward to the people who have always been there, your family. In many ways, old age is a time of returning to what truly matters, to what brings peace and fulfillment. After decades of building careers, maintaining friendships, and attending countless social gatherings, there comes a time to slow down and appreciate the simple pleasures of life. The laughter of a grandchild, the quiet companionship of a spouse, the feeling of being surrounded by those who love you unconditionally. These are the moments that define happiness in the later years of life. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. So don't feel the need to engage in excessive socializing. Those who have left your life have played their part, and those who remain are the ones who truly matter. Embrace this chapter of life by focusing on the people who will be by your side through thick and thin, your family. Cherish the time you have with them, and find joy in the small, everyday moments that bring you closer to the ones you love. At 70, you've earned the right to live peacefully, without the pressures of social obligations or the need to be constantly surrounded by others. You've built a life full of experiences, memories, and relationships, and now is the time to bask in the warmth of those who matter most. Let go of the need for constant socializing and focus on what truly makes life rich and fulfilling: family, love, and the quiet joy of simply being present in the moment. In the end, all gatherings will disperse, but the love of your family will remain. That is where true happiness lies. 6. Don't travel extensively. In life, especially as we age, we often long for peace, stability, and a sense of contentment. While the idea of traveling the world in retirement can seem appealing, it is important to recognize that the pursuit of constant adventure and exploration may not always bring the peace we seek. In fact, for those over 70, traveling can sometimes be fraught with unforeseen dangers and risks. There have been many heartbreaking stories of elderly individuals who met tragedy while on vacation, turning what was meant to be an enjoyable trip into a devastating loss. In one such incident, a group of 11 newly retired elderly people set off on a trip to a popular tourist destination, eager to make memories and explore new places. However, the journey took a tragic turn, and 7 of them lost their lives, leaving behind grieving families and unfinished dreams. The reality is that after 70, the safest and most fulfilling place to enjoy retirement is often right at home. While traveling may once have brought excitement, the simple comforts of home can offer a sense of security and peace that no faraway destination can match. At this stage in life, there's no need to embark on long and tiring trips to distant places. Instead, it's perfectly okay to take joy in the small, everyday outings, perhaps a short trip to the market or a walk around the neighborhood. The beauty of life can be found in the simplicity of a routine, in the familiar surroundings of home, where peace and stability reign. If you carry peace in your heart, every place can be a paradise. There's no need to seek it elsewhere. The desire to travel extensively, especially later in life, can often stem from a fear of missing out or the need to keep up with others who are doing the same. But the truth is, the best scenery in old age is not found in distant lands. It's found in the moments of calm, the sense of well-being you create for yourself and your loved ones. Living a simple, stable life, one that prioritizes health and peace of mind, is the most precious gift you can give to yourself and your family. Pu Songling, the famed Chinese writer, once said in his work Strange Stories from a Chinese Studio, "The most terrifying thing is not monsters, but the human heart." This statement rings true in modern times, where unpredictability and chaos often lurk beneath the surface of society. The unpredictability of human nature, combined with the ever-present greed and desires for more, whether material, spiritual, or physiological, can make the world feel like a dangerous place. And as we grow older, the desire for safety, both physical and emotional, should guide our decisions. By the time we reach our 70s, we have experienced the highs and lows of life. We have weathered countless storms, and we've come to understand the fleeting nature of material desires and superficial pursuits. This is the time to embrace a low-desire lifestyle, one where you let go of the constant urge to do more, see more, and have more. Instead, focus on what brings true joy, health, family, and peace of mind. Adopting a mindset of simplicity and contentment will bring more happiness in old age than any far-off adventure ever could. There is a new trend emerging in society where parents, especially in their later years, find themselves being relied upon more heavily by their adult children. This reliance, though born out of love and obligation, can often feel burdensome. Take the case of a 61-year-old woman who shared her story. "Accompanying my children is supposed to be a form of filial piety, but for me, it feels like a nightmare after retirement," she said. This woman, who goes by the surname Lu, lives in Changchun and retired at the age of 55. She has a substantial pension and a significant amount of savings left by her late husband, who tragically passed away in a work accident. For Mrs. Lu, life after retirement was initially marked by sorrow and loneliness. The death of her husband had a profound impact on her, leaving her emotionally vulnerable. Her only son, away at college, was her only source of hope. But with him gone, the house was filled with silence. In those quiet moments, she often cried, mourning the loss of her husband and the loneliness she felt. But over time, she found ways to enrich her life, making new friends and developing a love for travel. She found joy in dancing with friends and spending time at home reading and cultivating flowers, filling her days with peaceful, enriching activities. Her material wealth allowed her to live comfortably, and for a time, life felt full and satisfying. However, the pressure to travel extensively, to keep up with a lifestyle that might seem glamorous or exciting, can sometimes create unnecessary stress and distraction. While it is natural to want to explore the world, the reality of old age calls for a reassessment of priorities. After experiencing the many ups and downs that life throws our way, the wisest choice might be to embrace a quieter, more settled existence, one that focuses on the things that truly matter: health, peace, and the joy of being with family. As we age, we must also recognize the limitations of our bodies and the unpredictability of the world around us. Long trips and extensive travels may not be as safe or as enjoyable as they once were, and it's okay to step back from the need to explore. The greatest adventure in old age can be found in the love of those around you, in the quiet moments spent with family, and in the peace of knowing that you've lived a life filled with meaning. By following this wisdom and adhering to the 6 dance of old age, you can create a life that is happier, more peaceful, and more fulfilling. After 70, it's time to let go of the constant search for more and instead embrace the beautiful simplicity that life has to offer. True happiness doesn't come from far-off travels or material possessions. It comes from a calm heart, a contented mind, and the love of those closest to you. Your story resonates deeply with the struggles many parents face after dedicating their lives to their children, only to find themselves bearing even more responsibilities than before. It's a situation that many parents, especially single mothers like yourself, experience when trying to balance the deep love they have for their children with the weight of increasing demands and expectations. After your son graduated from university, you naturally wanted him to stay close to you, not just for practical reasons, but for emotional comfort. As a mother who raised him alone, the thought of him moving far away likely filled you with loneliness, and the idea of his presence bringing warmth back into the home was an understandable desire. Many may have seen your request for him to work locally as selfish, but your longing for family closeness, after so many years of managing on your own, is a completely natural feeling. You sacrifice so much for him, and it's only human to wish for some companionship in return. You used your connections and resources to help him start a promising career, but when he found the work unsatisfying, you didn't hesitate to try again. It's a testament to how much you care about his success and well-being. Even when his lack of seriousness at work brought embarrassment, your instinct wasn't to criticize, but to support him further. You thought, quite reasonably, that perhaps he lacked direction and maturity, something that might come with time, guidance, or the responsibility of starting a family. Finding him a wife seemed like the logical next step. Marriage can indeed offer guidance and maturity, and you probably hoped that by establishing a family, your son would find the motivation to settle down, take on responsibility, and become more engaged in his life and work. However, despite your good intentions, the situation didn't unfold as you had hoped. Rather than bringing structure and relief into your life, the marriage led to even more challenges. Once your son and daughter-in-law were settled into their married life, you soon found yourself taking on more than you had ever anticipated. Instead of being partners in managing the household, they seemed to rely on you for everything from cleaning to cooking to childcare. The once busy but fulfilling life you envisioned has now turned into one of exhaustion. What should have been a time of relaxation after years of hard work has instead become overwhelming. Your role transitioned from being a supportive parent to being something of a full-time caregiver and housekeeper for your adult son, his wife, and their child. You've dedicated your entire life to providing for your son, making sure he had every opportunity for success, and now, when you should be enjoying the fruits of that labor, you find yourself more tired than ever. It's no surprise that you feel envious of those who seem to have more peaceful and relaxing lives. The quiet life you once thought you had left behind has been replaced by endless responsibilities, and your once simple wish for warmth and companionship has led to a much more demanding reality. It's also important to acknowledge the emotional toll this situation has likely taken on you. When we sacrifice so much for those we love, especially our children, we often do it willingly, without expectation of reward. But when those sacrifices lead to burnout, exhaustion, and a loss of our independence, it's natural to feel frustrated and even disheartened. Your love for your son has guided every decision you've made, but now that love has left you carrying a heavier burden than ever. It's easy to feel trapped in such a situation, especially when you've dedicated so much of your life to ensuring your son's success and happiness. But it's important to remember that your needs and well-being are just as important. You deserve to enjoy this chapter of your life, free from the constant demands that have been placed upon you. As much as you want to help and support your son, you also need to take care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. Perhaps it's time to have a difficult but necessary conversation with your son and daughter-in-law about sharing the household responsibilities. They are both adults, and while it's understandable that work can be tiring, it is unfair for you to shoulder all the burdens. You've done more than your fair share, and it's okay to set boundaries and ask for help. As a mother, it's clear that your love for your son knows no bounds, but love also means encouraging independence. It's time for your son and his wife to take on more responsibility for their lives, their household, and their family. You've earned the right to rest and enjoy life, and it's time they step up to allow you that well-deserved peace. You are not alone in this struggle. Many parents face similar challenges when their children grow up, and the roles of caregiver and cared for become blurred. But now is the time to prioritize your health, well-being, and happiness. You've done so much for your family, and it's only fair that you now take the time to focus on yourself. Your story is deeply personal and reflects the struggles that so many elderly parents face today. It highlights a crucial lesson that all parents, especially those in their later years, should take to heart: the importance of not overindulging your children. The idea of always being there for your children is ingrained in the hearts of most parents. But there comes a time when the line between being supportive and being overwhelmed becomes blurry, leading to emotional and physical exhaustion. When your son blamed you for not preparing dinner, despite your exhaustion, it must have felt like a betrayal. After years of sacrificing and providing for him, his reaction was one of entitlement rather than understanding. To be accused of laziness after all you've done, and all you continue to do, is heartbreaking. And yet, so many parents like you find themselves in similar situations, feeling more like servants to their adult children than respected family members. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 4 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Your decision to take a break, to escape to a friend's place, was more than just a vacation. It was a desperate attempt to reclaim some peace and distance from the overwhelming demands of your son and daughter-in-law. The phone call from your daughter-in-law, urging you to return not out of concern for your well-being, but because they needed you to take care of their child, only reinforced your feelings of being taken for granted. It's understandable that you no longer want to help, not because you don't love them, but because their constant demands have pushed you beyond your limits. This moment of clarity that you can no longer continue to live as you have, constantly sacrificing without recognition or reciprocation, is pivotal. When you return, having a serious conversation with your son and daughter-in-law is not just necessary, but overdue. It's time to assert your boundaries and let them know that you cannot continue to bear the weight of their demanding lives. It's not just about your physical exhaustion, but about your emotional well-being and the respect you deserve as a parent and as an individual. You have every right to set boundaries, and they need to understand that while you love them, you are no longer able to meet their constant demands. Your experience is all too common. Many elderly parents, especially those who have worked hard all their lives to provide for their children, find themselves in a cycle of endless giving, even after their children are grown and should be self-sufficient. Instead of being able to enjoy their retirement, they continue to take on the burden of caregiving, not only for their grandchildren, but often for their adult children as well. What begins as a desire to support and help can easily turn into a situation where parents are no longer respected or appreciated, but are instead treated as though their entire existence is meant to starve. It's important to remember that overindulging your children, even with the best intentions, can have detrimental consequences. When you constantly solve their problems, handle their responsibilities, and make their lives easier, it deprives them of the opportunity to learn crucial life skills, such as independence and resilience. In your case, it became clear that your son, having been given everything, never truly learned to stand on his own 2 feet. And while you acted out of love, That overindulgence may have led him to expect that you would always take care of things, regardless of your own needs and well-being. Setting boundaries is essential for elderly parents, not just for their health, but for the growth and maturity of their children. Your experience serves as a reminder that parents must strike a balance between helping and allowing their children to become self-reliant. Offering occasional help with child care or household chores is perfectly fine. But when you take on all the responsibilities, it leads to burnout, frustration, and resentment. Parents should be there to offer support, not to become the primary caregivers for their adult children's lives. Communication is key in setting these boundaries. It's vital to have an open and honest conversation with your children, explaining your limitations and encouraging them to take more responsibility. This doesn't mean you stop helping them altogether, but it does mean that you guide them toward being more self-sufficient. Encourage them to take care of their household, to find and keep stable jobs, and to manage their affairs. Independence is a skill that will benefit them throughout their lives. And as a parent, your role is to support them in developing that skill, not to shoulder their responsibilities indefinitely. For elderly parents, finding balance is crucial. Your life shouldn't be consumed by the demands of your children. You've earned the right to enjoy your retirement and to engage in activities that bring you joy, whether that's traveling, reading, or spending time with friends. A fulfilled and happy life will make you a better support for your children without feeling overwhelmed. It will also show your children that it's okay to prioritize your well-being. They will come to understand that a balanced life, where both they and you are responsible for your happiness, is the healthiest way forward. In sharing your experience, you offer a powerful lesson to other elderly parents who may be facing similar challenges. Don't let guilt or obligation push you into overextending yourself. It's okay to say no, to set boundaries, and to demand the respect and rest that you've earned. You've spent a lifetime giving, and now is the time to reclaim some of that energy for yourself. After all, you deserve a life that's not just about serving others, but about finding peace, joy, and fulfillment in your own right. As we wrap up, it's clear that the experiences shared today provide valuable lessons about setting boundaries, fostering independence in our children, and reclaiming balance in our own lives. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What have you learned from these stories? And what's one thing you will take away and put into practice in your own life? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. We're eager to see how these insights have resonated with you. If you found this video helpful, please leave your comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching.